Hi guys, welcome back. As you can see, we're doing a Q&A today, and I asked some questions over on my business Instagram, which if you aren't aware, it's Plus Minus Skincare. I do own my own skincare company. It's 100% me, so I have created all of the formulas. I make all of the products. They are science-based with natural ingredients. They're really spectacular. I'm just a little biased, but that's kind of the brief overview. So I asked questions over on that Instagram page, and then I also asked them here on the YouTube community tab, and I'm going to sit down and answer them. So that's it. That's what it is. If you're interested in learning more about my skincare page, I will link everything below. But let's just get into the questions because that's what you're here for. So I wanted to start off with an easy one because some of them, while not terribly hard, it's Sunday morning and I need an easy question. Also, yes, I did do my hair and my makeup, like 100%. Am I going anywhere? No, probably not. Did I do it? Yeah, I did. Okay, so this question was from a lovely follower on Instagram. Did you go to college? And the answer is yes. So I am originally from North Carolina. I went to school in Virginia, so I went to school about 2.5 hours away from where I live. And I went to this tiny little all-women's college called Sweetbriar College. Love it. I had the most amazing experience there. I kind of went there because I love riding horses and I grew up riding horses. And they have one of the best collegiate riding programs. So we had horses on campus. That was my PE, like my gym credit. And I met some of my best friends to this day, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. I know people were like, women's college? What century did you go to college in? But yeah, it still exists. If you want a really small, intimate experience, it is a fabulous place. I cannot recommend it enough. So that's where I went to college. I actually went to grad school as well. I went to grad school out in Colorado where I lived for 4 years. And I went to CU Boulder, so I am a Buffalo. I got my BA in anthropology with a minor in archaeology, which I could do a whole video on that. That's like my one true first love. And yes, I did actually go on some digs in college. So I went out to Kazakhstan and Greece on archaeological digs. Very interesting, I know. And then for grad school, like I said, I went to CU Boulder and I got my master's in educational policy, which is actually what I still work in right now. I work in higher education. So that's kind of my life in education in a very, very quick nutshell. Okay, this one's a big one, so I think we should just jump in. This one is advice for first-time homebuyers. Bought a house that needs work, where to start? So this question was asked because I am renovating my house. Well, me and my husband. And by me, I mean he is, and I like clean up behind him. Where to start? So my advice, if you are going to be living in the house while renovating it, find some space that you can kind of have as what I call like safe space. For me, it was my bedroom, and that you just need somewhere where like the dust doesn't go. It's still going to go there, but you need somewhere that you can kind of like rest in, and try to make it as nice as you can while you're renovating the other parts. So maybe that's your upstairs. If you have like an upstairs and downstairs, if you can live upstairs and renovate the downstairs, that's ideal. If you're having to do it room by room, it's a little bit tougher, but I would say try to contain the mess. For me, that was and still is the hardest part, just because you're living in a place and it's like you have dust everywhere. Dust is part of your life, and it's very, very hard. The other thing I would suggest is if you're doing a whole house renovation, try to get the bathrooms and the kitchen done first. Now, my husband would probably disagree with me there just because they are the most used, and then like if it takes a while, they can get kind of damaged throughout the process. But for me, it was very, very hard to not have a kitchen or to have like a really shitty kitchen. So we tried to get finished a little bit sooner, and while it's not done completely now, it's still usable. So those are my suggestions. If you're not living in the house, then it's a whole different ballgame and you can just go to town. But also keep in mind, if you've never done anything in like the construction realm, it's going to cost more than you expect. So like take your $10,000 job or whatever, I'm just giving you a ballpark number, and add like 25%, maybe more. Okay, so there's one thing to keep in mind. We all want all three. We want it done fast, we want it done well, and we want it done cheaply. Pick two. that's what you get. You don't get all three. So just keep that in mind. It's well worth it, but it is a trying process. So my husband and I are still together. We actually got married during the renovation and during the pandemic, so I think we're good. Okay, the next question is, favorite part of being a business owner? Well, I love it. I actually wish that it was my full-time job, and it's not, so that's my goal. My goal is to be full-time on YouTube and full-time with my skincare company, which I kind of see like meshing very well together. But if you had to ask me just overall, like right now, my favorite part, it's that I have complete freedom. And I know that if I work really hard one day, like say I put in like 14 hours, next day I can wake up at 10 and not get out of bed, or, you know, take the day off. It's not a matter of getting in 8 hours every day. It's a matter of getting the work done. And I've always been really efficient at getting work done. So it always drove me crazy when I was at an office and I had to sit there for 8 hours, even though I did the work the first 2 hours of the day. So it's just about that. And I know that being a business owner is very hard, but for me, it's the freedom to do things when I want, how I want, and just that freedom. Yeah. Next question is from YouTube. And it said, how did you and your hubby meet? So we met online. I know, it's like 99% of people these days. So we've been together for about 5 years now. We got married last August. My phone keeps falling, sorry. We got married last August, so a little over half a year now. But we've been together for 5 years, and we've lived together for 4, and we've also been renovating a house for 4 years. So in my opinion, if you can renovate a house together, you can do almost anything together. But yes, we met online. There's no fancy, romantic story to it, but yeah, that's it. Okay, another one from YouTube. So what sort of jobs did you do before YouTube? That's a great question. I still do other jobs. YouTube is not my full-time job. I have 1,000 some subscribers, which while I appreciate and love, it's definitely not paying all the bills. One day maybe, hopefully, that's the goal. But in terms of what other jobs did I and do I have, let's see. I've been in the education sector for over 10 years now, and I have worked at quite a few universities, and especially in the North Carolina area. When I moved back here from Colorado, I started at UNC, then I went to NC State. I was there the longest. I was there about 5 years, and now I'm at Duke. So I got the trifecta. And I work mainly in event and program coordination. And I did start some programs while I was at some of those other universities. So I've done kind of quite a few things within that realm. I also now at Duke, I have been doing more design work. So that's been something that I've really loved, like UX, UI, and then like graphic design as well. So yeah, that's kind of the main job of my life. But other random jobs back in the day, I mean, I was a camp counselor. I taught horseback riding back like in high school. I worked at a frozen yogurt shop with my best friend in high school. We worked there for like a few months in the summer, and then I had to quit because I got tendonitis in my wrist because I was going like this to scoop the ice cream when you have to like go with your whole arm. So I had some random jobs, but probably not as many as a lot of people. I knew kind of what I wanted to do, and that was for me be around horses. So I was always working at the barn. And then once I got a little bit older, I just had my regular jobs. This one is also from YouTube, and this was a really hard one, and I feel like I was sleeping and dreaming about it. But the question is, what is your favorite makeup brand? This is so hard. I love so many, and I don't know if I love everything from one makeup brand. That's just like a really hard question these days. But I will probably be able to give you a few. So for drugstore, e.l.f. is just, it's so good. They have good brushes, they have good eyeliners. I don't know why eyeliners came to mind. But you can find something of theirs that's relatively cheap or very cheap, and it performs like some of the bigger, more expensive brands. Now, speaking of expensive brands, I've always kind of had a soft spot for Charlotte Tilbury. I love their complexion products. I love this powder, which I never thought I would like a powder. This is just fabulous. Obviously the Hollywood Flawless Filter, that one's a great one. And then even the Unisex Healthy Glow, which I've been using a lot lately. I kind of forgot I had it. So their products are really good, but very expensive. And then probably two others, just that kind of like off the top of my head. I have to put MAC in there just because I love MAC Face and Body so much. If you've seen any of my other videos, I talk about it often. But they also have some really great like standalone products that everyone probably has used. I have quite a few of their single eyeshadows. I have their eyeliner. What else do I have? You know, I've got a lot of MAC stuff now that I think about it. And interestingly, I would not have seen this coming, but I really like some of the Rare Beauty stuff. I don't like all of it. Actually, I hated their concealer, but their blushes are double chef's kiss. Very, very good. Me like. So I know that doesn't answer it. I just can't say one brand. Maybe one day I'll have one that I love as a full face, but not right now. So one that I thought was really interesting was, do you make all of your products or are they made elsewhere? So this is actually a question I never thought people didn't know the answer to. But I've learned recently with my skincare products that you can get a private label. So you pay someone for the formulas, you probably even pay them to make it, and then you label it with your own name. I do not do that. I have my setup in the room over here. I formulate everything. Every formula, every product is 100% my own. So that means I write the recipe, I write the percentages, all of it. So yes, it all comes from me. If you are using a product, I made it with my own two hands. That's just it. So yeah, thanks for asking that one. That's a good question. Okay, and then another one about skincare is, which skincare serum should I be using together or avoiding together? This is a good question, and it kind of gets to the heart of like one of my issues with some skincare brands, and I'm thinking of Paula's Choice because I just did a video on that. Or like The Ordinary, they just have so many options that it's so overwhelming and you're like, what do I use with this? What do I use with that? I don't know. For my brand, you can use absolutely everything together. It's not a problem. You can use all the time, day and night. It's just more like what works for your skin. So I wouldn't recommend our night cream in the day, but it also does say night cream recommended at nighttime. But as far as like our serum, so we only have one serum and you can use that morning or night. And I usually recommend that you use it and then put a moisturizer or an oil over. And that's just to get like the full hydrating properties of it. But you could just use it alone if you wanted. I think the biggest thing for other skincare brands where you do have multiple serums and all these things to pick from, definitely read what they tell you. I can't speak for, say, like Paula's Choice to tell you what to do. But vitamin C is one of the big ones that people talk about that you typically use in the morning, and then you definitely need to be using a sunscreen over it. So sunscreen is going to help you. I mean, sunscreen you should be using all the time, but especially if you're using one of those vitamin C serums. Retinols are something that are really popular these days. You use those at night. It's a really great question. It's just a very hard one to answer because it can be so specific. So my best suggestion for this is just to read the label and they should tell you what to do. But if you're getting overwhelmed, ditch all of it. Go back to something simple. You don't need all those things. They're probably not doing as much as you think they are. Keep it simple. Okay, and we have our last question. So I saved this one for last because I thought it was a good note to end on. One goal you have that scares the shit out of you. I love your honesty. So if I'm going to put it out there, which you're supposed to put your big goals and dreams out there, right? Because if you don't do that, then people don't know what you're working toward. One goal that I have is I want to quit my full-time job and I want my skincare line and I want YouTube to be my sole income. I know that's going to take a lot of work. I'm not adverse to hard work. I actually really prefer it, but I want to be doing things on my own terms. So that's my goal. It scares the shit out of me. Obviously, I wouldn't have health insurance. I wouldn't have a 401k. I wouldn't have the security of a big corporate or university like what I have now. But like I said before, I also, the freedom to do what I want when I want and to work my ass off. Like working 80 hours a week is not the problem for me. It's just that I can do it from a coffee shop at 4 p.m. if I wanted to. That's what I want. So I'm putting it out there. I hope that this YouTube channel and I hope my skincare line are something that eventually are my full-time job. And I mean, I have so many dreams, but those are the two main ones. And if you caught it in one other video, I mentioned I had this whole little tangent where I was like, oh my God, after COVID, my dream would be to travel around to different countries and like try out their makeup, maybe find if they have like a tubey mascara. That has stuck with me, and now I'm like, I'm gonna make that happen. Like, especially after COVID when we can travel again. Oh my gosh, because I do love to travel. I can like envision how these videos would go, like drugstore in a different country. So I'm putting it out there again. I think that's it. I really enjoyed answering these questions. If you didn't realize, I like to talk and I like to talk about myself. I'm a Gemini, what can I say? But if you do like this video, definitely give it a big thumbs up. I know you can only give one kind of thumbs up, so just give whatever kind of thumbs up you want. Subscribe. If you have any more questions and you want to do this again, just leave them in the comments below and maybe we'll do it again. It was fun for me, so I hope it was fun for you, is what I was going to say. That sounded weird. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.